The chamois males fight to the death, goring each other in the throat and abdomens to win mates. I had honestly never heard of a chamois before this session. It lives in the Alpine mountains and sits in the goat family, and I thought that was interesting enough on its own, but the deeper I got into it, the stranger it got. The thing that stopped me first was how they fight. Goats and rams headbutt. Chamois can't do that because their skulls aren't built for it. So the males chase each other up cliff faces at full speed and try to gore each other in the throat and abdomen. The females fight too, but they don't go for the mortal wound. That distinction in how the males fight is not something you typically hear about in rut cycles. Usually there's a display and somebody backs down. Their hooves are built like a climbing tool. Their outer edge is hard so it can hook onto a rock face, and the inner pad is soft and grippy for traction on smooth stone and ice. On top of that, their hearts can sustain around 200 beats per minute, which is what lets them run at full speed in steep terrain without collapsing. They carry 11 to 13 million red blood cells per cubic millimeter of blood, compared to our roughly 5 million, which means they can pull oxygen out of the thin alpine air at elevations where most animals would struggle. They communicate danger through whistles and foot stomps, which makes sense when you're spread across the vast open distances of the Alps, and a forest-style call wouldn't carry. There's a hunting tradition in the Alps tied to these animals. Hunters wear a tuft of fur from the back of the chamois neck on their hats called a gamsbark. The bigger and fuller the display, the more successful a hunter you're understood to be. It's a status symbol that's still active in parts of Austria, Bavaria, and Switzerland. In 1907, Austrian Emperor Franz Joseph I traded 2 bucks and 6 does to New Zealand in exchange for rare birds and animals from New Zealand. At the time, nobody thought twice about it. By 1970, those 8 animals had become roughly 100,000, spreading across much of the South Island. New Zealand's response was to open them up to hunting with no season and no limit, the same way feral hogs are handled in parts of the United States. The population has since come down to around 20,000, and in this particular case, that's a good thing. They were devastating the local plant life. They're not endangered, their habitat isn't being developed, they're just being managed back toward the number that the land can handle. There's also paleontological evidence of the chamois in the Alps going back to around 200,000 years. That puts them there well before modern humans showed up in any significant numbers in that part of the world. The chamois cloth sitting in your garage that you use to dry your car is named after these animals, but it hasn't contained chamois hide in nearly 100 years. Today, it's mostly sheepskin tanned with cod oil. The name stuck, even though the animal is no longer in use for it.